Welcome in. It is SVPod with Stanford Steve. I am Scott Van Pelt. This won't matter to anybody, but we're in some new digs. Shout out to the folks at Podville. Beautiful new space. We're very grateful.
Yeah.
As always, shout out to the folks at Omaha for helping to honcho this and get us in. About a month away from getting back into the house.
Okay.
Allegedly. I'm not letting myself believe that there's actually going to be like a functioning thing in my house.
You shouldn't, because when it comes time, you're going to be going to the beach.
Yeah, no, but
I can only imagine the anxiety, the angst, like you know it's right there. You start seeing things, visualizing, you're remembering things, like how good it was.
It was way easier to be patient when it was off in the distance. But I think that's life, right?
No doubt.
Right? Like
no
when something's
doubt.
far away, you're like, no, I'm good. It's like a little kid in Christmas.
Yep.
But like that week of, Santa, let's go. Chop, chop. I'm kind of reaching that point where it's, we're staying in floors. That's a 24-day process. What are we, Michelangelo? Just slap some paint, slap some stain on it. Let's go. But we're gonna allegedly have a home studio, which I don't know. I'm picturing my kids in there firing up the cameras, and God knows what goes on. But we're close. I want to start with Bill Walton today. I've been, what's the word? Moved for sure. Moved and amazed at the depth of reaction from people and how everyone seems to have a story of his generosity and his kindness and his thoughtfulness. And we were lucky we crossed paths.
Mm-hmm.
And I just found myself wishing that there were more time. I guess there was a small core of people that knew that he had
very small,
that it got bad and that it got serious, and then in the end it was the end.
Mm-hmm.
But when he wasn't there this winter with Dave, it's like, you just see you down the road.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. I think in this business there's a lot of we'll see you down the road, because there's a lot of that sort of we're like deadheads in our business. We're just we'll see you at the next show.
Yeah.
We'll see you at the next show. There's always another show. Now that show's over in a sense, but God, what a show, what a life, and there's so many layers to it. Who he was, but the basketball, like that's the least interesting part of this as I read about him.
Which is frustrating for me because he was before my time.
And I was really young when he was who he was at like UCLA. But go ahead.
I was 9 in '86. That's what I saw. Sixth man of the year. One of the greatest teams, if not the greatest team, ever. And I wasn't a Boston fan, but I watched them every night. And they were as clean a watch as you could imagine.
A lot of Hall of Famers on the floor.
Oh, God. And
a lot of Hall of Famers.
And like I should have looked it up, but I want to say they had one of the best home like when I grew up, you never saw the Celtics lose at home. Never.
Didn't happen.
Magic did it a couple times in the final. That was it. And then you start reading, I'm a Duke guy. I still think the world of Leitner as a college basketball player. And then my dad would argue, it was like, don't even say it before you say Bill Walton and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Well, Cinder. And then you start reading. It's like, holy shit, he went 21 to 20
in an NCAA final
with all this pressure, like that thing, like that streak, and I wouldn't. There's no way I would have been a UCLA fan.
No,
but the respect
Yeah.
to be able to go do it in college basketball, where it wasn't you're playing 24 conference games, you're not playing 20. You're playing every great out of conference team there is that year. People are mixing and matching whether they got a team that year that they're going to go there and take them. Pete Maravich's book, I remember reading him going out to the Maui Invitational with LSU and just getting destroyed by UCLA. Like he thought he was the man. He'd have his, I don't even think he got to 30 in the times, and UCLA would just pummel him. So I'm always still trying to learn more about the basketball because I know a lot more about him since then. My roommate in college, Bill was his godfather. There's stories there that are just
Shout to Vela.
Vela, happy birthday, buddy.
Happy birthday, Vela.
4'7", big
Raider
boy.
fans.
But then, like, being in the business, Bill Walton loved Daily Wager. Loved the show. Watched it every day. I go to UCLA, USC. He's calling the game with Pash. Last year, before Georgia TCU national title game, I'm out in L.A. I said, I'm going to Paulie. Call up our guy Chipper when he was the head coach. Go to the game with Chip Kelly. We walk in, and Bill comes, with that walk coming on over. And he's like, Chip Kelly, I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk Daily Wager with Stanford Steve. I'm like, what? And then he starts going. He's like, I saw you had this and this. His memory and listening is...
No one does that.
No
one does that. And when people have been the center of attention, this is my observation on athletes, and I've spent more time around athletes than any other sort of star type people, but I would imagine it must be this way if you're a massive actor or a musician. When you're the center of everyone's attention and universe, and everyone pays attention to you, I appreciate and admire that person who actually has the capacity or interest in being interested in anyone else, because most of them don't. And I don't blame them. It's just everyone normally is, hey, what time do you want to do this? What do you want to eat? What do you want to talk about?
Yeah.
And you're catered to at every turn. Bill Walton was that guy. Bill Walton was as great a player in college, was a great NBA player, had his body not betrayed him. But then there are all these other issues. He didn't play a year because stood on business. You talk about standing on business. This man stood on business. Mm-hmm. This man stood for those that couldn't stand. This man protested things. He was a principled man. Danny Ainge told us right before training camp in '86, he's like, I got to go. He went to a sit-in on an Indian reservation. Like, he cared about other people and their causes, but he cared about you, and he was interested in you. Daily Wager is a great example. Reese Davis shared a story about Bill was in Alabama for something, and he asked Reese, where did you live? And Reese is like, what? Gave him the address, gets a picture a couple days later. Bill went to his house and had a jar of dirt from Reese's house that he was going to take and mix with the dirt from his place in San Diego. Like, the idea that this was important to Reese, and now it's going to be blended with my dirt in San Diego. Like, what?
Think about the people living in that house now. Seeing Bill Walton come here for a long... What's...
Mom?
Bill's digging a hole in our yard.
There's a giant hippie with a jar of dirt. It's good, man. He's good.
Oh.
He's good. And Mike Breen told an incredible story.
Oh, unbelievable.
And Mike's such a great storyteller. And for about... It's on the internet. It's easy to find. He was talking with Malika. It just tells a story of the care and concern that Bill Walton showed Mike Breen's father, who was dealing with Parkinson's.
3 days.
Really moving, what Bill did. And Mike told him the story of, like, he's in Bill's house because that's just what Bill did. You're not staying in a hotel, you're staying in my house. And he can't find his dad, and he can't find Bill Walton, and he finds him out in the backyard in a teepee. Bill had a teepee in his yard. And I just imagine, we're going to talk about pot later, right?
Yes.
I'm imagining that Bill fired up the good stuff. I'd love to imagine medicinal
correct
quality. I'd love to imagine that, like, Bill and Mike Breen's pop sparking up the absolute best stuff in a teepee. I'm not saying it happened, but it might have.
But also, Mike's dad stayed in the Bob Dylan room at Bill's house.
That's right.
Bob Dylan room. He had the rooms were named after the most. How did he had a word? I can't remember it. The people that meant the most to him in his life. Bob Dylan. You're in the Bob Dylan room.
So Mike Breen's pop stayed in the Mike Dylan room. Mike Breen's pop stayed in the Bob Dylan room. I beg your pardon. Obviously, the dead, the Rick Carlisle story. Oh. Rick Carlisle was going to go on a date with this girl. He calls Bill. He says, I'm going to marry this girl. The Grateful Dead was playing the Capitol Center, not far from where we are here in the D.C. area. Shout out to Landover, Maryland, back in the day.
Who was he supposed to ask for?
Ramrod. Bill told Carlisle, go to the back door and ask for Ramrod. Roadie for the Dead. So Carlisle's with this woman, who's now his wife.
Yeah.
Goes to the back door. I'm looking for Ramrod. Imagine Carlisle. Like, he's a UVA guy, probably in a button down. Like, he's not a deadhead. All right? All the deadheads are out there, prayer circle, candles. I need a miracle, trying to get a ticket. Carlisle's knocking on the door asking for Ramrod. They come out with laminated tickets for him. In he goes. First date. That's Rick's wife now. I mean, the stories are endless. And I think of just sitting with him in the cafeteria and just talking to him and how interested and curious he was. And God, what a life. And I think about there's this, he would say, thank you for my life. And he would talk about shine on and beam on. And a lot of it's sort of hippie language, right? It's sort of, but man, makes a lot of fucking sense.
Yep.
It makes a whole lot of sense. The kind of decency, curiosity, interest in others, care and concern for others. He talked about what he could do for others, and he did. And apparently that's just what he spent all of his time doing. And I'm so sad that to think that just that spirit doesn't exist in an earthly form. You know, I said on SportsCenter, did one big thing, like shine on, beam on. Like, I'll just assume I'm just going to chalk up light in the universe, wherever it is. That's Bill's soul bouncing around somewhere. And I'll hang on to the fact that our paths crossed. The fact that he loved Daily Wager, it's
unbelievable. He also had a great story when he went to Stanford Business School. They had a group session for like study before the final. And of course, guess who was playing on campus that weekend, that night before the exam?
I'm imagining it was the Dead.
It was. Took everybody there the night before the final. People are losing their minds, worried about studying. Everybody had a great time and everything worked out. Like, that's what his idea of the study session. He got everybody there and then brought them over to the concert.
Who was the story of going with him to see the Dead? And they said Bill just drove up to every single. He would drive up to the checkpoint and be like, "I'm Bill Walton, and I'm here to see the Grateful Dead." They moved the barrier. On he went. I don't know, man. It happens the older you get. And I'm older than you, and I'm older than a lot of our listeners, I'm sure. But, you know, I guess there's a little bit of thinking of the runway that you get in this life. And Bill's ran out way too quickly. And at 71, he was a guy I didn't ascribe an age to.
No.
Because his spirit just was so ageless. I don't know. It's just that part's heavy. And I thank you for your life, Bill Walton, and the example, and all of the stories, and everybody that crossed paths with him has a story. Like texting with PFT and Big Cat, and I warned him. They told. I remember however many years ago, they're like, "Well, we're gonna have Bill Walton." I'm like, "Well, good luck."
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you mean? I'm like, "You'll see."
Yeah.
You're gonna ask 2 questions, and it'll be an hour and a half later, maybe more, and that happened. But I mean, Big Cat said he said that when he looks back on his career, he's like, and obviously those guys are in the middle of a remarkable run where they get to talk to everybody. But I know that the idea of him talking to Bill when he looks back on it, he'll be like, that he got to do that, get to spend a couple of hours with Bill Walton, shine on, beam on, carry on, all that stuff, man.
Yeah, And if you remember, too, he came out and he did the games. He did NBA Finals, and then he went away for a little bit. And I remember it was 2003 Final Four in New Orleans. Syracuse wins, Carmelo, the whole thing. And I'm at the airport the next day flying out. And he's over there in the corner with his wife. And this is when he had to redo the back thing. Like, his wife was trying to I walked over and finally said, "Here, I'll help." He couldn't get up. It's 7'2", 7'3", man. Like, back problem, feet problem, like. It
was difficult.
Oh, man, it was really, really bad. And then, there's a great article out there about his love for riding bikes. And, like, imagine seeing that man on a bike, how big that was. And he's just the happiest guy in the world. But that's just him, man. No other.
No other.
I think people throw around larger than life. That dude, no doubt. One of a kind, man.
He lived. He got every bit of it out of it. And I feel like there's lots and lots of lessons. And maybe they land more heavily.
Listen. Just
Yeah.
listen, people.
Yeah. Spend time listening.
Helps.
Spend time being present. Spend time learning about the other person and what's going on. And there's just the stories are endless. I saw a Bobby Marks thing this morning about some rookie thing he put together. Like he was a Hall of Famer. He put together a rookie thing. Knew everybody's name in the room.
Yeah.
That was Bill. And he knew us, and he came on with us after an Oregon UCLA game, and I just gave up. I just put my chin in my hand and just let him go. He was growling about Bears. I'm like, all right, Bill. It's time. He didn't care about our time. It meant nothing to him.
Brian Windhorst and I watched that interview from the hotel bar in Oklahoma City and could not stop laughing.
It makes me smile now.
Yep.
And when you think of him, all you see is that gigantic smile of his. What a life. What a life. Thank you for your life, Bill Walton. Thank you for your words, Harry Higgs. I want to pivot. We talk about a golfer, we call him the Big Rig. You named him, Harry Higgs. Some call him the Big Beautiful, Big Sexy, whatever you prefer. He's been on this show, PGA Tour player, lost playing status on the Korn Ferry Tour, won 2 weeks in a row. Everybody's psyched about that knows the rig. Just got married.
Yeah.
Life's great. He won in Knoxville. And then he got on the mic and he started talking. And this is a really bright dude. Funny guy, good player, all that bit. But then he started talking, and Higgsy, he blessed everybody with his message. And it was about the loss of Grayson Murray, the PGA Tour player who took his life last week, a young man who had battled a lot. He had battled depression, he had battled alcoholism, and unfortunately he succumbed to that struggle, and it hit a lot of people in the golf world really hard. And here's Harry on the mic after he just won, and he's like, look, the golf's lovely, but it's really doesn't mean a lot. And he just encouraged people. Say something nice to somebody that you love. Say something nice to somebody you don't even know, because you don't know what people are carrying around with them. You don't know the struggle that people have. No one does. Everybody's got something, and you don't know what that is. And I think that there's a lot of Bill in that. There's a lot of the. That's why I mentioned it here off the top as a salute to our buddy that won, but who took that moment to say something that I think is so much more important than that win, and he said it more important than that win. That was really impressive to me. That was his thought in that space where you have an audience. And as it turned out, that audience was far more than just the people standing around a green, because it was shared everywhere in the way that social media can be an accelerant, something really positive. And I think a lot of people heard those words, and if you haven't, I would direct you to them just to hear what he had to say about just being kind. Rig's a good dude.
Yeah. There's a couple things there. I think with Harry, it's example 1A of somebody getting humbled because of their own doing, and him not playing up to where he did, lost the tour thing, had to go to the Korn Ferry. And you see, I think it's a different guy, and now he's exuded a whole different confidence that he's found in himself. But to that also, him speaking about it, I also, being around the PGA, you've done it way longer, and we talked about it a little bit the other day. It's a messed up life golfers have, man. And I talked about why I love it. Being on that island, you got to do it for 4 days straight, and there's no other guy to catch the pass that you're throwing. There's no other guy to throw you the pass. There's no other guy to block for you. It's you. And then your favorite thing that you always say about golfers is they don't have any home games.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. I was, unless the tour comes to your neighborhood.
It's
like we were talking about it last night. Like if you play Major League Baseball, it's a grind, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gone a lot. NBA half that, NHL half that, but you're gone. But you get to come home. If you're out there on tour, and this is where people work hard. We understand they play golf. You're right, but it's difficult. Keegan Bradley's a good buddy of mine, and Keegan and I remember last year at the PGA in Oak Hill. We're just talking about having to leave his boys, and they're young, and it's hard. And it's like, this is a guy that's doing really well. He was in the middle of an awesome year, but he's a dad first, of course. Husband and dad first, I should be clear. And it's a bummer. You got to leave your kids. He told me his son would see his pack up his stuff, and his son would get so sad because he thought he was going on vacation. It's like, buddy, I'm not going on vacation without you. I'm going to work.
Yeah.
I got to go work. It's a bit nomadic. It's why the tour is so close. And it's why what happened last week with Grayson landed in such a heavy, heavy way with so many people, because it is this traveling circus, the caddies, the club reps, the media people, the players. Like, we show up in Fort Worth for the Colonial last week. All right, well, hey, who's going to dinner where? Hey, where y'all staying, right? And then next week, we're going to Canada. Okay, are you guys going up to play Canada? Oh, yeah, it's a good course. Love it. I know some people. It's not unlike Deadheads. It's this group that travels together. You know, you're following the music with the Dead. Well, you're following the golf ball out here. This is our job. A little different, but it's nomadic. You're isolated, and there are no home games for anybody. And so, yes, it's a great living for some. It's a grind for most.
Yep.
And for the Rig, a couple of wins means he's coming back to the PGA Tour. He's earned his way back. Didn't get a scratch-off ticket. Didn't win the Powerball. He won 2 tournaments in a row, so he's coming back. But salute to you, my friend, for
that was awesome,
for taking a moment to talk about what mattered. So it's a little heavy off the top. Sad about Bill, but smiling at all the memories. And shout to a guy who's on a tour you might not know a whole lot about, but who said something that matters a whole lot. And that's where we begin. I have other things that aren't related. Summer season. It's almost swim season. Because we'll have a deep dive next week, NBA, because there's like a month-long break. What are we doing? What are we doing? Because we get a little break when we get to the end. How about we speed it up?
Yeah.
Chop, chop. How about we get this show on the road? The Celtics won a sweep that was the least sweepy sweep I've ever seen in my life. Like, at the end of it, if you're the Pacers, you got to just be looking around going, how did that happen? They lost 3 of the 4 games they lost where they easily could have won. Game 1 they should have won.
Yeah.
They could have won games 3 and 4. Won none of them. And I thought what Pascal Siakam said afterwards was really interesting, because he's done it.
Yeah.
He's like, look, got a young team, and we got a lot to be excited about, but like, it's hard to get back here. And he knows that, because maybe Butler's not hurt next year. Maybe Giannis isn't hurt next year. Maybe the Knicks don't get every guy that they've got injured. Maybe, even though we're good, maybe this is as good as it ever is going to be for this group, because it's hard to win.
Oh.
And recognizing that, he knows, because he's done it. Nobody else on that group does. That's part of that big rotation. And Halliburton getting hurt, that's obviously a big deal. But they were a fun team to watch. They were a good team. But when push came to shove in the last minute and a half of games, the Celtics, who've been there, they leaned into their experienced, more talented, I guess you could say, options, and they won games that were winnable for the Pacers. And this time of year, I felt that way, the same exact way watching the Panthers and the Rangers in the Stanley Cup. Like, that's 2-2. It could be anything. Like, the difference in that's even more fractional. Bounce here, bounce there. This time of year in particular, I'm amazed at the athlete who is able to find the plays and rise to the moment when the moment demands it. And Indiana couldn't, and Boston just did 4 straight times.
Yeah, I keep thinking about one thing, and it happens across all the sports. NBA, NFL playoffs, you get in. All right, what do you do with that? NCAA tournament, you get your name on the line, and it's an opportunity.
Yep.
What do you do with your opportunity?
Amen.
And I look at the Mavs going through it, lost game 4 where they could have clinched it. And you think back a week ago from that, we're in Louisville, and SGA fouls P.J. Washington. There's no foul there. That game might go to a Game 7 in OKC.
Yeah.
And now it's the foul is made and free throws are made, and a week later the Mavs are one game away from going to the NBA Finals. Like, the opportunity, and what golfers, we talk about it all the time, what do you do with that opportunity in those 4 days? It just comes down to it. And the idea of that whole grind of an NBA season, and it comes down to that. You get to the conference finals, you're that close, you lose your best player, you're still there. You got guys playing out of their minds. Their building is awesome, and you still can't get it done.
Yeah,
that's the stuff that drives you. But I also give credit to the Celtics. I know plenty of people have pointed out how fortunate they are of the injuries that teams that they have played. I don't look at that at all. I go back to the opportunity. They don't know when else they're going to be here. They've been here time after time after time, almost coming back down 3-0 to the Heat last year. But what do? They come right back, maybe even better. The numbers say they are. We'll see.
They've been the best team all year. I mean, demonstrably, in any direction you look, best record, differential, they have been the best team. And I'm glad Legs pointed this out, because I was ranting and raving about no Butler, no Giannis, Halliburton. He's like, hey, look, Porzingis makes them better.
Yeah.
And I said, that's fair. That's certainly fair. And they'll probably, well, again, because the series, the finals start sometime in August. They should have June 6th, Thursday, June 6th. We're following
Sports
women's.
Center to follow.
Nope, we follow women's softball, which means we'll be like on ESPN 2 at 1 a.m. We're gonna get to this time of year because I know it's one of your. For those not watching, Stanford Steve #NoQuarter. Shout out to the Pirate Nation. We're repping them. We'll talk a little College World Series and the NCAA tournament there in just a minute. That's I know it's a sneaky fun event that you absolutely love. It just makes the on time for our particular show a moving target. But we'll be on. Finals coming. Dallas a win away. They had been unbelievable at winning games. Same kind of deal as Boston. And Luka had been incredible. He almost pulled off a 4-point play late, which was insane in game 4.
That was a foul?
I did not.
I did not either.
I didn't either. I didn't.
Edwards had to be like, what the fuck is going on here? Let us out of here with a win.
He was. And Cat had already fouled out on a similar kind of thing. And tip of the cap to that guy. I know he's not your favorite dude, but let's give credit where he where it was earned. The man was 3 for 22 in this series from 3. He was 4 for 32 and going back to the last 2 games before that from 3. That could make you scared to pull the trigger. That could make you scared to even want to get into the arena. Dude hit 4 threes in a row when they had to have them to win a game, and shout to him.
And that's what I look at. I was watching the game with Legs. You had gone downstairs, I think. He didn't attempt a 3 until the third quarter. But up until that, you saw a smart, methodical approach by him, which is, I think, all people want to see from him. Is, he realized he's struggling with the jump. All right, let me get a feel. Let me go to the basket a couple times.
See the ball go through the rim.
Yeah. Then he gets it, blocked. He doesn't get a couple foul calls. Then he passed up a couple threes early in the game. And then when it came down to it, he got the open looks and he knocked them down. That's the good stuff.
Do you think when the one goes in that it all goes away? Because I do. I think it didn't go in clean. It kind of hit the back rim and dropped. I think just seeing one go in where, excuse me. This might sound corny, but when you're little and it swishes, you're like, yeah. I think just seeing one go in clean and it washes away, he's not 3 for 22 anymore. He's 1 for 1.
Yep,
made my last one.
Yeah, and like I said, the way he did it, I also thought it was super interesting talking to Legs, as we're lucky enough to do. And I was like, what do you do when you're going through that? And he said, I'd go home. I wouldn't go back to the gym and shoot, 1,500 shots like Kat said he did.
That's probably not true.
I would go home and watch myself on film make shots.
I'm him.
He's like, I got to see the ball in, and I'm good. Show up the next day and stay on it. And I thought,
think about what Lex had to watch it on there, like a beta
VCR
Old
remote
school.
Or the tracking. You got to keep hitting it.
We're old. It's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
VCRs,
right.
bring them back.
Not really.
But no, just the idea, the mental aspect of that, and being, and that's one thing I don't think I ever really did in high school basketball. We just played in a tournament, like a series. That mental strain is a whole nother level. And then you talk about what the stakes are, and knowing what's so close and the end-all, be-all is, a couple wins away. That's the stuff that I look at. And, yeah, awesome for Cat to do that in that circumstances, in that building, with what's up, with their backs against the wall is awesome.
And it earned them the right to go home and play a game. And then it's like, all right, if you can win that, then all of a sudden Game 6 no one's blown a 3-0 lead. So the odds suggest that Dallas will advance. They got 3 games to win 1 at this point. But Minnesota wins 1 game at home. Now you go back to Dallas and everything's on their plate. Yeah. You're looking at them going, you better get this one. Don't mess around with this now. Mm-hmm. But we saw it with Denver in the last series against this very same Minnesota team. How much energy do you spend in getting back to you've got the lead?
Yeah.
Or Denver had the lead and then they lost the last 2. But how much energy do you have to spend in the process of coming back? But just I give Minnesota the credit. If nothing else, it was a stay of execution. And Cat, who was getting criticized, rightfully so. You say you're the best shooting big man ever and you go 3 for 22, then everyone's going to give you like a shrug emoji and say, well, then how about make a shot, big fella?
You know what never happened years ago? It was when a team was down 3-0 and the team won a game to make it 3-1, and people just fast forward to like, well, Game 6 back in Dallas. We can't just sit in a moment with a result ever. That's
fair.
Amazing.
All right, it's 3-1, Game 5, whenever it is, Friday, Wednesday, I don't know, Thursday. It's later on. It's this week. It's on. Chuck, Kenny, Shaq, Ernie, y'all didn't get to go fishing. You better put that mic back on. You better keep working and doing that show we all love so much. Chuck's the best. He said, I challenge you, Charles. Charles said no one is better at doing nothing than him. I don't know about that. I feel like I'm a 1 seed at that. Like when we go on we go down to Florida or whatever, like, what do you want to do today?
Nothing.
Snorkel, fish,
yeah, see,
golf.
He's a sneaky. He knows this is his fishing time. That's for real.
Yeah.
And that's his idea of doing nothing. It's just sitting out there.
My idea of doing nothing is doing nothing. Tinker, wander from the kitchen into like your office. What are you doing? I don't know.
Getting another Diet Coke.
That for sure. That's a given. I'm just saying that we're approaching. Although this, and we'll be excited at like my not doing anything will be trying to get our house back together. There'll be a lot of that, but that'll be great. Hashtag swim season. Did it begin?
It's here. We start first practice last night.
Here we go.
Yeah.
What's the name of the squad? Sun
Devils.
All right. Big pool. How's the mentality? How's the confidence level?
Big.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I love to hear that.
It's
most important thing.
I'm just gonna get there's an hour for again we got 3 in the 10 and under, so I'm gonna guess the competitive swimmers come in for the next hour. But the energy is again awesome. I love the idea. Like I said, I didn't grow up in a pool community. You went to the pool, but you weren't on a swim team.
No, I just hung
you
out.
You were a lifeguard.
Yeah, I just was trying. I was just trying to holler at that. Yeah, I was trying to holler at the lifeguard. She was going to college. I was like 14. She really wasn't that interested in your boy, but didn't stop me from showing up with my little card to walk in.
No, but the idea of how the seniors, like there's 3 seniors going D1 swimming.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they are coaching our group, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's That's the best.
Like, and like I said, we're going to a new pool, so like it's my 2 older ones are kind of like, where do we go? What lane are we going to be in? And like coach starts, hey, what lane you were in last year? Go to that lane. If you weren't here, ask somebody and figure it out. Boom, lanes move, practice goes, and we're off and running. Middle one wants to do diving. Did an hour of diving practice last night. How'd it go? I did great, Daddy. I'm like, oh boy. So we got swimming, diving. We got soccer still for a couple weeks.
But that's an awesome answer. Had she ever done it?
No.
And she wanted to do it?
Wanted to do it. God. Loved it. They got the springboards there. We have a diving team. We didn't have a diving team. Now diving's a whole different day and meet from swimming.
Oh, that's fun. Hey, another ride to the pool, Dad and Mom.
Thanks for that one. So we'll see. We're going we're going solo. Our middle one will take on every possible. She'll play 5 sports in one season if she could.
I love that. Any parent out there, because you got 3, I've got 3, and it's fascinating just what, and you learn this as you go. What one does with ease, the next might struggle with.
Yeah.
And you can't just say to the one that struggles, why don't you do what they do? Because they're going to look at you and be like, because I'm not them, you dumbass.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can't. I think you can parent the same way in the sense that you try to love the same way, but this is just what I've experienced. The greatest thing in the world is to hear, I did it, I tried it, and then I did great. Because whether she did or didn't,
I have no idea.
But it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Because she thinks she did. and then that means that she's psyched to go do it again, as opposed to I was nervous to do it because I haven't done it. Maybe I'm embarrassed that I don't do it as well as the person next to me. And then that makes it difficult for me to want to do it because, this has just been my experience, like that I don't know why it is that I have kids that think they're supposed to be great at something when they've never done it. And I explained that's not how it works. I didn't love practice. It was not my favorite thing.
No one does.
Exactly. But
you got to do it.
I just want to go to the games and go to Hershey Park. Well, here's how, you know how you go to the store and you want to get groceries, you got to give them money? Practice is the money you give to get the Hershey Park and the meats, because that's the fun part. You got to give to get. But just to hear that I did great, Daddy. God, that's what an awesome thing to hear.
And I have no idea.
But she does.
I don't care. Yeah, exactly.
She might be doing cannonballs. Who gives a shit?
Probably is.
Great.
So yeah,
that's awesome.
Swim assessment for the youngest. We're gonna start on the Little Devils.
Here we go.
Which is a great team name.
Hell yeah.
Fits her perfect.
Yeah.
And then they assess them going. So it's super exciting. Spent the whole weekend at the pool.
Uh-huh.
Awesome people. A lot of listeners to the pod, so we got to be careful.
That's what you learn. And when years ago the flag football, it was realized that I'm glad that I chose my words carefully about some aggressive coaching that was going on, because then you see those coaches and like, that was great. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yep.
Shout out to the Little Devils, the Big Devils, the Red Devils, the Sun Devils, whatever the hell they're called.
And I grew up. I saw it start to change as I got to high school. I went back and coached our Pop Warner team when I was a senior in high school. But like practice, my parents dropped me off and came back when it was over. And that's what I try and do. Yesterday, I just wanted to make sure we were good, got in the right lane, and that. But like
a lot of lingering these days.
Like just let them go. Let them go.
Agreed.
Love the coaches. And like I said, the idea that these kids stay and help out. They're seniors in high school, man. Like, not in one chance in hell was I ever thinking about helping a pool when I was a senior in high school, knowing what was ahead and what was still had to be done in the summer after your senior year.
Sure.
So it's really, really cool. Fired up, and we'll be getting after it.
Outstanding. That was a happy little thing. It's summer season. I have something that I hate.
All right.
Play that production, everybody. All right, it's beach season, everybody. I hate that guy, and it could be a gal. Let's not be sexist here. When it's early morning, you want to go down to the beach and you want to claim some territory. I claim this land in the name of 229 Oakwood Street. You plant your flag. That's fine. For those of you that aren't in a beach area, let's just tell you, like East Coast beaches, public beaches, a lot of folks.
And not a lot of room like on the Pacific.
Not a lot of room. Like I've been to fancy beach. Like we have some friends that have done very well out in East Hampton. Like it's like a movie. You got room.
Fake life.
Kind of is.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just tell you, shouts to Legs and Cape May. I know there's so many great Jersey beach towns.
City.
Oh, yeah, excuse me. He's not Cape May. Yeah, he's Sea Isle.
Don't get those. Dude.
No.
Dude, Jersey.
Yeah. Avalon. A lot of good ones. Ocean City, New Jersey. There's a million good ones.
Wildwood.
Shit, that's an aggressive spot. We're in the Delaware area. Shout out Ocean City. That's Maryland. Then you got Bethany, Rehoboth, Dewey, etc. Those that are in like Oklahoma, like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
They're beaches. The East Coast folks, if you know, you know. But when you get up in the morning and you go down and you want to claim some territory for your house, that's fine. Everyone gets it. That's all right. I hate the guy or the gal that comes down with 9 chairs and decides that we're going to put them 6 yards apart, as if you get 50 yards of fucking beach. You don't. Be reasonable. You can put them a few yards apart, a couple feet apart. That's fine. That's fine. But then, if you're going to just leave them there until like 1:30,
yeah, that's
when you want to stroll on down to the beach after you've had a casual morning reading the paper, having your donuts, shout out to Sandy Pony,
espresso, having
your coffees, doing whatever, going for a jog, like that's all fine. But if you're going to stroll in around 1 o'clock and you got a 50 by 50 square yard area of beach that you claimed with your chairs, that's bullshit. Be reasonable. And I don't know how it works in other places, but in Bethany, on the back of the guard, they get the chairs on the back of the big honking chairs. They got a little chalkboard. They tell you what time high tide is. That's important, because if you want to come down and I claim this beachfront land in the name of the Coughlin family, well, if it's check the tide, man, because if you're waterfront now, but the tide's out, then it's going to come in. And when it comes in, guess what? The people behind you, they're not surrendering that land. When you want to back up your 15 chairs into them. We all got to get along. We're all going to mostly try to do our best. But everybody just needs a little space. Little space is the key. So don't be the person that thinks on this public beach you get to claim an excessive amount.
Acre.
Thank you. This ain't acreage. This is just enough room to sit your skinny or big butt. It's fine. Plop it down. Try to keep it moving. Try to be nice to the people next to you. And on we go. Be reasonable.
Love it. I got to talk about pot.
There you go. This is important stuff.
This is important.
We're running the gamut.
Or it's not. Okay. Now,
we're going to decide together.
Been traveling a bunch, obviously, see different things, meet different people, smell different people. And the idea of, I get it. I don't know where it's not legal anymore. It seems like it's legal everywhere. And that's great. You don't smoke pot. I don't smoke pot.
No.
I don't have anything against people that smoke pot. But people, just so you know, you smell like pot. They don't realize it, do they?
I don't think
pot smokers have no clue that they smell like pot.
I don't know that they care so much.
Understood, but I just want to let you know.
Okay.
So when people are looking at you a little funny, like, hey, your stuff smells like pot.
What's your fix here?
I don't know if there is one, because tell me if I'm wrong. Every big city smells like pot.
It's obvious. It's pretty.
Downtown Louisville smell like you were in New York.
Yeah. New York smells like a lot of things.
DC.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
I mean, and like I said, I don't do it. It doesn't bother me. I'm asking you, are we in the stage for the rest of our lives that every downtown big city is going to smell like pot?
I guess would you like them to carry around like a thing of Axe body spray or something? Like
when you get on a plane, yeah.
That's fair.
You know?
Don't come onto the plane. Steve's up front, so if you're going to plop down somewhere next to him,
well, everybody walks by too. So
that's true.
You smoke pot. You smoke pot. And I get it. You don't care. Just want to let you know, you smell like pot.
Hey, pot guy. You smell like pot.
Everything. Your house probably smells like pot too.
But we can't be in the problem complaining department. We need to be in the problem solution department. So I don't know how we fix
I don't know
that.
if they know that also, too.
Now you know.
But if they don't care, then that's to the side.
I don't know that they do.
But every downtown's going to smell like pot forever.
Yes, because it's legal.
Got it.
And so I will say this about people. I've said this forever. I've never seen a high person sucker punch someone. I've seen drunk people fight quite a bit.
No doubt.
So I got no issue with most of my friends that are high are very agreeable folks. Shout to Bill Walton. I'm not talking about pot. Not talking about pot, although I could be. What did he say? We could disagree. Don't be disagreeable.
There you go.
It's a great lesson in that. Also, maybe, it's fine to get high. Just be aware of your scent. You want to talk a little bit about that event that you're up in East Carolina? I'll totally admit to this. Took the fam up, by the way, to the NCAA lacrosse final. That's where championship season for that's very regional. I get it. Not everybody plays lacrosse. It's grown, but it's super, super, super regional. Shout out to the College World Series. I get that not everybody does it. And shout out to Notre Dame. That team is an absolute wagon. The Kavanaugh brothers were outrageous. They won the title by a lot. I always pay attention to that because Maryland seems to always be in the Final Four. Shout out to Coach Tillman.
Great run.
I have paid more attention to college baseball in the last few years because Maryland has had really good teams. They didn't get to the tournament this year, so I'm a little bit more blind because I don't know who's in what super regional things of that nature. You're repping East Carolina. What do we got?
East Carolina's at home again. I think it's believed 30 plus years. They've been in the mix.
Quarter!
Been in the tournament, have not gotten to Omaha. And now they got a home seed, and who's facing them? Former number 1, Wake Forest, comes in as a 2. So that is going to be a ginormous regional.
Wake's a 2?
Yeah. So
what kind of reward is that to the 1? How do you?
Greenville, no respect.
What are we doing?
They will bring it, I'm sure. It does feel like there's a weather delay there every year, and they're the last series. But yeah, we're pulling for the Pirates for sure. Like I said, all NBA playoffs. I wanted fresh blood. Baseball in college, kind of hard. 11 SEC teams are in. I believe 8 ACC teams. 3 Pac-12s. 2 are hosting. Gauchos, Santa Barbara, they're hosting out west. But no, I absolutely love the event. Grew up always watching Omaha. Obviously went to Stanford. Fell in love with that. Knew plenty of guys.
Have you been? Baseball. You still haven't been, right?
No, I've never been to Omaha.
But you want to go to this event.
Love to go to Omaha.
Fix this, someone. Someone fix this.
We got to work. We got NBA Finals.
Do we?
Yeah.
Private aviation.
Remote?
No, just someone.
You want a stringer from Omaha?
Well, yeah, you could. We used to send you on the road back in the day.
Oh, man. That's how I watched the Bill Walton interview. I was on the road. It was Kevin Durant's coming back to OKC.
Well, you need to go to Omaha. Jello shots and all that stuff.
No, I think it's awesome. I think the conference tournaments were incredible. That scene in Hoover, you always talk about raging fan bases.
Yeah.
That has to be one of the best collections. Seeing what Tennessee fans and LSU fans can do off the field and
aggressive,
seeing them make it all the way to Sunday. I would imagine a lot of bars and restaurants are doing pretty well and happy in Hoover this week.
Well, right. Like we talked about this last year when LSU and Omaha. I mean, there's a gear that they possess that everyone, not everyone, a lot of fan bases will talk about. Oh, these our fans, they like to have a good time. Like, okay. Just listen, LSU is a 14.5-point favorite. The end.
I do find one very interesting regional.
Okay.
Starkville is coming up to Charlottesville.
Ooh, there's an interesting sort of.
That's a difference of lifestyles, right?
Yeah.
I just.
Not a lot of cowbells in Charlotte.
Oh, man.
Charlottesville, I should say.
Yeah, that's going to be super fascinating. But no, I just think all that comes with it is awesome. And the women's softball. I mean, I was staying up late watching. Stanford got run-ruled Friday night by LSU and came back and won 2. Texas, number 1 team in the country, down to A&M a game, come back and win 2. Duke goes to for the first time ever winning at Missouri. Like, all that stuff is so real. But I'll say this again. I've said it many times. We need to find a new saying besides "let's go." It's all anyone says.
Last night when who was it? Trocheck scored, and it was slow motion. And I was like, Steve. I knew what he was going to say. I was like, Steve, look what happens. It's like slow motion. You see Trocheck going, "Let's go." Now a lot of times there's an effing in the middle to punctuate.
Yeah.
But no, "Let's go" is kind of the catch-all.
And Tom Brady has a podcast named it. Like I just like, how about a come on?
Come on.
We can do it. Something.
If someone does something great and is screaming, "We can do it." Everyone in the
Let's
team's
make it a thing.
Everyone. All right. Hey, everybody.
We can do this. How about that one?
It's too many. Let's go's 2 words. It's just we want the fewest number of words.
Let's do it.
That's 3 words. That's an extra word. Let's go's 2 words.
Let's go is 2 words. Okay.
How about you need.
How about fuck yeah?
They beep it. So I was told we could cuss on this pod. We're going to need to fix that, or I don't know what we're going to do. But I like that.
Right?
That works for me.
Hell yeah.
How about this?
Hell yeah.
How about this? Shout to Rafa Nadal, walked off Roland Garros, I believe, for the last time. What a champion.
Vamos.
Vamos is awesome. Because when it's guttural and it's like you could scream Vamos. Like, and that you feel that.
Yeah, give it to me in different languages. Like Luka. Slovenian.
Everyone he was speaking Slovenian to Gobert. That was great.
Not really.
Yeah, but I like that.
That's good.
That smile from
That's
him.
very clever.
Well, we gave Luka a little bit of a waving our finger. You got to stop doing the side eye and complaining all the time. All right, I love that. I was speaking Slovenian. Yes, you were. So if you're playing in the softball or baseball World Series, working our way towards the World, give it a vamos.
Not start moving to different languages.
Not a let's go. Speak Slovenian. Slovenian's a nice language to punctuate.
Do you know a word?
In Slovenian?
Yeah.
You can guard me, apparently. That's the only Slovenian that I'm familiar with. That I didn't know I knew Slovenian, but apparently.
Are you good at reading mouthing?
Yes.
You are.
Lip reader? Yes, I'm excellent at that.
Because you have issues hearing?
I think part of it's that. I think part of it's now that I'm just trying my best to connect the dots. But it's tricky because there's certain things that look like they could be one thing but aren't another. But you can always tell when it's let's go.
God, yeah.
Vamos. I like that a lot. I think that would make Steve happy.
Yeah, one other shout out. Georgia Southern made it to their conference title game.
Mm-hmm.
And I got caught watching the Pac-12, which was late. And somehow I'm putting on the ESPN app. Georgia Southern's playing James Madison in a semifinal to go. It's about 1:30 in the morning. This dude, Mitchell Gross from Georgia Southern, little guy, 5'9", 175-ish, lefty, gold chain.
Nice.
9-inning, complete game, 1 run, got his team to the title game. I just wanted to I stayed up to watch you, Mitchell, and Gata, Georgia Southern. Sorry you didn't make it. Obviously, Southern Miss is a dangerous team. They won that conference. But that effort by him, Scott, I didn't even look where the game was being played. There was 15 people in the stands. And this kid was dealing. James Madison's a good program. And I just that might be it for him. 1:30 at night, Saturday night, Memorial Day weekend. You got to have an effort. Your bullpen's done. You got to get to tomorrow, and it's probably never going to be remembered, but I watched that, and it was best thing I saw all weekend, and it's a shame that they didn't advance because it's going to be forgotten, like I said.
No, well,
it was awesome.
Because here on SVPod.
Mitchell, 17, lefty, rope chain, had everything. Awesome.
I hope somebody lets Mitchell Gross from Georgia Southern know that there's a lot of podcasts out there. I don't know how many of them were watching ESPN Plus on 1:30 on Memorial Day weekend, but the big fella was. Vamos!
Talk about doing nothing. It's great.
You were doing something. You were supporting Mitchell Gross.
Yeah.
Rope chain. I have other stuff, but
Come on.
No. We're 100 days from.
How's the phone? You get a new phone?
Nope, haven't got a new phone yet, and I probably won't just to bother you. Probably won't. But before this,
all I have, this is very simple. Because, when there's certain things that need to get done, I could just text your wife and say, what do you think about this?
I'm sure she doesn't like the speakerphone either, with her deaf husband.
And you always say she hears everything.
It's really not great. It's not a great combination. Like she has spidey senses. Like literally, I could be sitting downstairs in the house. Just something's on Twitter, and I'll watch a video, and there's sound, and like from upstairs, I'll just hear like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then she's coming down, eyes, turn your phone down, and I'm like, are you for real right now? You are asleep. Up like floors above us. You heard this? And it wasn't like it's not like I'm watching porn on my phone and there's people doing a Luka Doncic press conference. It's not that. It could just be anything. And somehow her senses, her sense of smell and hearing, everything is just, she has spidey senses. And I'm an old mutant that can't hear. It's a difficult combo. So I'm sure she'd be thrilled if I could get the ear, have the speaker.
You won't wear AirPods, right?
I don't know how to charge them.
They're your phone charger.
I understand.
You have a pair too, huh?
Somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably.
See, that's...
What?
Come on.
You know what I'm going to do?
Somebody bought those for you.
I'm going to start smoking pot and so I can smell like pot. And I'm going to scream, let's go. And I'm not going to fix my phone just to see how much I can irritate you.
Oh.
All right. Well,
no, it like I said, it does not irritate me.
Yeah,
I just think people, I don't think they know that they do. And I'm just trying to help them. That's all. But again, it could be they don't care.
The person that does that on a plane sitting there before you take off, no one wants to deal with that. And I guess that's kind of when you're a captive in the car and we're at Monday Night Football and I go on Michael K's show and I'm doing that. You're like, I don't want to hear this. Right? But you're going to have to hear me talking. You're going to have to hear half the conversation anyway.
Correct.
Don't you want to hear Michael and Don and Peter's great questions about the
Jets and
going
the Giants?
Hey, are they going to go to the playoffs? Guys, they suck. They suck. I get that they won a game 6-3. They're probably not going to the playoffs. But maybe, if you guys want to talk about that all day, you can.
Did you get, was it all Notre Dame and Maryland? Or did you get any Philly accents up there? No?
No. It was, ND showed up and showed out. They're obviously a massive alumni base in, any Northeast.
Do they have the most fans of their fan base that didn't go to school there?
Duke basketball probably pretty high on that list.
Really? I
think so. But because it's a Catholic institution, I think if you don't have a team that you pull for, I think there's probably a lot of folks
hate Duke.
People hate Notre Dame too.
Yeah, but
I'm looking at one.
More people like them.
More people like Notre Dame than hate them?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
You're probably right.
I put them up there.
Well, they had a huge turnout in Philly, and they had a lot to cheer about. So
they're awesome.
Yeah, no, that team was a wagon.
They were minus money to win the tournament.
Well, and that was free money because nobody.
Denver gave them a run.
You're right. That was the one game that was close.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, I mean I think we've kind of gotten into the weeds here, talking like lacrosse quarterfinal results and Mitchell Gross for Georgia Southern at 1:30 a.m. on ESPN
awesome.
Plus. But that's what we do. Just a couple of guys chopping it up. You got anything to leave us? Leave us on a good note.
Watch out for the UCLA women in the softball.
Huh?
Watch out.
I just appeal to anyone playing softball or baseball. Let's
no extras.
Let's just for a middle-aged guy trying to avoid an on time of 2:30 a.m. I'm begging you. Weather delays and extra innings.
And it's in Oklahoma.
It's coming. Like, we know it's coming. And there's not a thing we can do. But you know what? We get to the end of June, and I'll see y'all later. We'll see you
50 yards of beach.
Just be reasonable.
50 yards.
It's okay. We're all trying to do the same thing. Just don't put your chairs 3 yards apart.
One other thing.
It's garbage.
One other thing before we go. It is the beach season.
Yeah.
Swim season, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you with sunscreen? Kids, do you think it works?
I know that there's our children, and I believe yours as well, there's something right underneath the eyes that maybe my children are mutants, and they just something. By the end of last summer, my young son Sam was like Seal. He had underneath his eyes, he had patches that I think we could do nothing to stop the blistering. It didn't make any difference.
Yeah.
You could put sunscreen 1 billion underneath his eyes, but when you stay in the ocean the entire day, like nothing you do will work. I say it largely works. I can't find anything that underneath the eyes.
Those
zinc things.
Yeah, zinc.
Does that do it?
But again,
Here's
my problem.
It was an open wound underneath my son's eyes, so he didn't really dig the zinc. Hopefully, if we start with the zinc, we can prevent it.
My whole thing is that they say they're waterproof, and I don't believe it is.
I don't think it's waterproof as much as it's water resistant. I think you have to if you're going to be in the water all day, you got to reapply every.
And how long do you have to wait till you go back in the water? That's the magic.
I'm just going to tell you right now that
take the under with Sam.
Yep, and your middle. Your daddy, I did great. I'm guessing when you say you have to spend 5 minutes sitting here with a sunscreen, you get the world's most lethal stink eye when you say that.
Oh, God.
Daddy, it's fine. It's dry.
What time is it? It's been 5 minutes.
No, it's 12 seconds.
Yeah, it's also that time. Like I make her wear a swim shirt because she doesn't have great skin, and when she gets burnt, it's days. And
you can't lose days, man.
And it's a fight every single. Do I have to wear my sweatshirt? Yes. Stink eye.
But does she wear it?
Yeah.
But she hates you the whole time.
She'll be in the water for an hour, and then she'll come out like cousins, friends, the whole thing. And then as soon as she gets out of the water and she sees me, it just flicks. Why do I have to wear this?
She's fine, but then when she's when she sees you, all she thinks of is he's the person that that is my get out of jail free card. If he would just let me take this thing off.
And then the little one said, "Why is Sissy crying?"
Because Daddy made her wear swim shirt.
You know why, little devil.
We got to get a shirt. Do they have shirts that say "Little Devils"?
We'll get one on the show.
Yeah,
if they make them big enough.
All right, so be on the lookout for the Sun Devils.
One other quick thing.
There's no sorry. We'll talk until we talk.
The story, Birmingham Southern, you've seen it.
Uh-huh.
They're going to the D3 College World Series.
Yes.
School's closing. Sent me a jersey. It'll be on SportsCenter tonight.
Bang.
How about that story?
It's a movie.
It is. Did you see they had food poisoning? They had half the team last weekend. Guys were in the ambulance trading off rides to the hospital for food poisoning. Still got there. They're playing in Ohio somewhere.
It's a movie.
Eastlake?
I don't know. So this is going to come out after it's on SportsCenter, but it'll be on SportsCenter.
Yeah.
That's the end of the podcast, unless Steve has something else that he wants to do.
Okay. Lunch.
It's about that time. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you soon.